because Airspeed are launching today, announcing that they've just raised 20 million from some friends in the ecosystem. Let me just say, Airspeed is the commercial brain for revenue teams, the agent-native platform that helps teams turn customer conversations and commercial data into actions that move sales deals forward. Let me just ask you, and we've got 15, 20-ish minutes for this. So tell me about who have you raised from, who's backed you, who are the friends in the ecosystem we should love.
Yeah, awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Deva. I'm one of the co-founders of Airspeed, and yeah, really excited to be here on this podcast and to talk about our Series A announcement that we just announced now. I think an hour ago, and I think yeah. So we just raised $20 million from DN Capital, VI Partners, and Framework Ventures, and Atlassian Ventures as well, and some incredible angel investors as well. So yeah, super excited to be launching our Series A today.
I love angels. Can you name some of them?
Yes, one of my favorite angel investors is my former manager at Google DeepMind. His name is Chris Dyer, and he is really one of the most incredible people in the world, right? Who just have this clarity of thinking that it just is just beyond comparison. And I think we spoke. I spoke to him in the very early days when everyone was talking about it. Well, I guess everyone's still talking about AGI, but he said, we are unknown number of problems away from solving AGI, and I just really love that quote. Right, like not only do we don't know where, like, what are the problems to be solved on the way to AGI, we just don't know how many of them or anything. It's just such clarity of thought, and I love it. But one of the problems that I think is very close to his heart and mine is context, right? Like if you think about all the LLMs today, right? Like with especially like Opus 4.8, GPT 5.5 level models, they're just incredible, right? I think like what they can do, right, is just. I mean, I've been AI researcher. Back then, we used to call it NLP researcher, if anyone remembers those days, for a long time, right? But I think just even all the insiders, all the people within the industry, if you told us the capabilities that are available to us today, I think none of us would have believed you, and it would just would have been crazy, right? And but what I think is right that the LLMs themselves are insanely good already, right? I think, and they're improving a lot very fast. I think the biggest challenge I think that still remains is the context that you give them and how you curate that context so that they can actually, in the pure LLM world, give you an insight. Or if you're now running an agent, actually do something for you that would drive value for your business. So that's one of the biggest challenges I feel on the path to AGI. I'm really excited to be contributing to that.
Honestly, I think you're 100% correct. I am sitting here running commercials with EUVC as the sole guy, which means you can hardly be in a structure where AI can do more for you because there's no one else I got to think about and coordinate with and that type of thing. I'm just running wild. I said to my wife the other day, honestly, I think I'm the biggest blocker for my own AI to just be a million times more effective. The only thing that I see myself doing is harnessing it to the right context, giving it information that I should have given it when I prompted it to begin with, and
Totally.
correcting a little bit here or there. But honestly, I wouldn't even call myself the decision layer anymore. I'm just the permission layer because it's still
Yeah.
built into Claude, which what I'm running with. It's still
Mhm.
built into that I gotta approve almost everything. But honestly, I'm getting to the point where I do have some processes running that I'm not touching at all, even through my email going directly to clients.
Wow, that is incredible. And I think maybe I'd love to. I'm always we talk about AGI all the time, but I still struggle to get on top of my inbox. So I guess
Yeah.
I will ask you for some of them. No, but that's an incredible insight, right? I think in 2024, right, was I think the kind of pure LLM era, right? I think like, LLM summarize this call kind of thing, right? I think 25 was, I think when we started exploring agents, right? Everyone's kind of like trying out a little bit of agent, like actually giving some access to tools to these LLMs. But I think 2026 is going to be the year, and we're seeing this already in a lot of industries, right? Where LLMs are actually in production running, sorry, agents are already in production running critical workflows and just driving an immense amount of value for people. And I think that is going to just keep accelerating this year, I feel.
And before we started recording, I asked you, why is it that enterprise is the level where you want to play? And of course, I know that one of the things you say is that AI adoption at the enterprise level is stuck at the insight layer. But can you unpack that sentence?
Yes, definitely. I think, as I said, right, 2024 is when we were still kind of where we started. We hooked in, I think, if you think about an incumbent, right, if you think about an incumbent software solution, right, like you already built all these layers and layers of SaaS and you have the data storage and whatever, right? And the only piece of LLMs or AI you can add to that, right, is a very thin layer on top that will deliver some insights to you, right? But that doesn't really drive the organization forward, is what we have seen, right? And to actually drive an organization forward, you need to completely rethink the architecture, both from a organization perspective, but also from your own from the software solution perspective, right? So because like what is a workflow that is still a human workflow versus what it becomes now a pure agentic workflow, as you said, right? Like emails are now increasingly becoming something that is just driven by agents, right? So I think that's where we think 2026 is going to be the year where, like, I think the insights are still going to be at the core, right? So I think the way we see it, right, is you gather all your insights across all of your organization, right? And that's why we focus on enterprises, where once, if you're a very small team, you know what who you are selling to, why they buy your product, why they don't buy your product, right? But at scale, no one has any clue, right? You have a sales team of 100 people distributed across the globe. You have no idea what's going on, right? And you have no idea why people are buying. And your product team definitely has no idea what to build anymore, right? And I think so. The insights part is still really key, right? So you have to grab all of that information and centralize it into one place. However, I think what is changing in 2026 is that the consumer of that insight is no longer a human. That becomes an agent. And then the agent is what takes your organization forward, right? So already what we have built, for instance, internally, we haven't yet shipped it, but it's super cool, is like as soon as you finish a call, right? So what we were doing before, right, is you finished a call, someone said, I need this new feature, right? Then someone would click a button which would summarize the feature, turn it into a PRD, and then give it to the product team, which would probably just feed that PRD into Claude Code and then just do it, right? And now we're saying, why don't we just close the loop cross-functionally, right? So the agents know the high level in it. It's how you actually run a business, right? You don't think about it at a feature level or at a like a day-to-day granular level. You think about the initiatives. You think about, where do I want to be at the end of the quarter? Where do I want to be at the end of the month, right? And can you give the agent those initiatives? I want to be better at, I want to go more upmarket. Agent identifies a new upmarket feature in a sales call. It goes and builds it. It's just done, right? Like completely rethinking how an enterprise works in the more agentic era. I think that's why it's super exciting to work here every day now for me.
Devang, I want to ask you, if you're as you, super knowledgeable guy around everything that's sales, you've got a very clear view to what we can achieve with AI in sales. Oftentimes we have these super broad stroke conversations about Will we achieve AGI, or will we have self-driving cars everywhere? And it's oftentimes commented on by people that are not super close to any specific individual material. But you are for sales. So I would love to ask you, when do you think that we have sales AGI? When have we achieved the point where everything sales can really just be completely done by one big agent?
Um, I think there's within sales, right? And I'm talking here maybe more enterprise sales, I guess, right? Where people you're selling like a really expensive software that is very business critical to someone, right? I think if you're selling $20 software or whatever, right? If you're selling something for $1,000, right, and you should probably not have a sales rep anyways, right? And all of those things, I think we'll move towards sales AGI, where you would have this self-learning layer of agents talking to the customers, selling to them, but also on the back of it, the correct insights are mined and sent to the rest of the organization as it needs to. I think we're going to see that on the more mid-market sales, right? I think we're not that far from it. The key missing element over there is closing the loop, right? So not just uh, even if you have the AI, the sales AGI doing the selling, the insights still need to flow to the humans building out the product, and the the product team and the customer success, everyone should be aware and understand what is actually going on the ground. I think closing the loop there is the real key. But on the enterprise side, I feel where you're selling really high value software, which require cross-functional adoption, buy-in, everything, right? It's like, I think there the human element is still going to be very important, I feel, right? Like, because I think you see some of the best sales reps, right? Even for at Airspeed, right? You see some of our best sales reps. They have such a good relationship with all of their customers, right? They meet each other in person constantly. They're always on a plane. They're going for they're building that relationship, right? And that is actually and that trust, and you have to build that trust not just with a single person, you're building that trust across an organization, where which I think is probably the really important human element of sales, I think, which I think will always be the case for high value sales, I think.
Yeah. And on the mid market and small cap market, we probably will have a big other side where I think there's less innovation, honestly, which is the procurement side. But the second that you
Totally.
start having sales fully automated and also procurement
And
fully automated, like the AI on the other
yeah.
side on procurement will be, oh my God, can you get done with this relationship building call?
Totally. Yep. I see what you're saying. But I think it's just, I mean, before, right? Before I'd actually run this company, right, and bought software, right? But I was like, I would have also thought the same way, right? But then, like, it's so challenging to procure software, right? Like it's not like if I was going to buy, I don't know, like a steel bar or something, right? Like, I think I probably know the properties of it, the tensile strength, whatever. I did a bit of civil engineering at the university, but I know, whatever tensile strength, this I can parameterize it, right? But if I'm buying software, I have no like I have some rough list of requirements that I will check for during a POC, right? But like, I do think that 80 to 90% of software purchases is like relationship, brand, and kind of how they made you feel, kind of, rather than like my RFP was ticked 100%, right? Because like it's not a steel bar that you're procuring whose properties you can just agree upon.
Which then explains why public procurement that's very RFP driven always is completely wrong.
Totally,
Let me ask
totally.
you the final question here. I want to ask you, what's next for Airspeed? What will the funding unlock? What are you on to?
Yeah, so I think we've got such an incredible backlog of features that we are of agents that we're trying to build for our customers, and so we are just scaling our engineering teams, and we are just razor focused on working with our customers to build as many agentic workflows for them as possible. So kind of we see it at three levels, right? No, the number one and one of the most important is agents at the rep level, agents that are assisting rep. So the reps are still going and building the relationships, but the agents are doing everything around them to move the deals forward, right? So that's the number one part, right? How can we, as I said, how do you make a rep who's talking to their first bank sound like they are an expert in selling to banks, right? And how do we unlock that, right? The number two is strategy. How can you run a board meeting? And we're doing it already internally. How do you run a board meeting completely with agents, right? How do you give maximum visibility to your board about what's going on in your commercial organization entirely with agents? Those are the kind of, and I guess the third one is the more operational management layer, right? Like what is working in the team, like who is working well, what can we learn from them and use that to educate the rest of my organization, right? So kind of those are the kind of three layers of agents we see in an enterprise being the most valuable, and we're just relentlessly executing on those three strategies now with the additional funding.
Amazing. Devang, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, talking to me about this, and of course, more than anything, for building here in Europe. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Andreas, for having me.